The Full Monty is a beloved 1997 British comedy that became a surprise worldwide hit. It tells the hilarious story of a group of unemployed steel workers who start their own male striptease act to make some cash. The film takes us through the mishaps and insecurities these men face as they try to pull off their big show. While the whole film is pretty iconic, there's one particular scene featuring all of the principal characters together that almost ended up on the cutting room floor. This now famous scene turned out to be crucial for conveying the movie's theme of overcoming obstacles and believing in yourself. In this video, we'll be looking behind the scenes of the Full Monty to reveal how this unforgettable sequence almost got cut. We'll also share some other inside secrets from making this comedy gem. Join us as Facts Verse presents the iconic scene that was almost cut from the Full Monty. The hot stuff scene that nearly got cut out. One of the most iconic scenes from the Full Monty features the guys spontaneously dancing to Hot Stuff by Donna Summer while in line at the unemployment office. Their perfectly imperfect routine has been praised by fans and critics alike, but reports emerged that the scene almost ended up on the cutting room floor over concerns that it came across as too unrealistic amidst the gritty realism of the film. Fortunately, test audiences reacted so well to the humorous scene that editors kept it in. It has since become etched in pop culture history, representing the camaraderie and charm at the heart of this classic comedy. Beating Titanic and LA Confidential at the BAFTAs. Few could have predicted that this modestly budgeted underdog film about amateur male strippers would dominate the awards circuit. But at the 1998 BAFTA Awards, the Full Monty pulled off a major upset by winning Best Film over heavy-hitting competition like LA Confidential and the box office behemoth Titanic. Star Robert Carlyle also nabbed Best Actor for his role as the stubborn but sympathetic Gaz. And Tom Wilkinson won the Supporting Actor category for his turn as a well-to-do ballroom dancer, Gerald. The 4 awards collected that evening remain a point of pride for all those involved with producing this unlikely crowd pleaser. Accusations of plagiarism from Oscar nominee. Though the Full Monty won acclaim from audiences and mainstream awards bodies alike, it found itself in some legal hot water in 1998. Anthony McCartan, who recently earned Oscar and BAFTA nominations for penning The Theory of Everything screenplay, actually sued the Full Monty a year after its release for plagiarism. He claimed the film had essentially copied major aspects from a stage play he co-wrote in 1993 called Ladies' Night. That script told the story of unemployed New Zealand steelworkers who turned to male stripping and included similar characters to those found in the Full Monty. After filing lawsuits in both the US and UK, McCartan settled out of court with the British production company. Translating Sheffield slang for Americans. The working-class Northern England vernacular used liberally throughout the Full Monty proved challenging for some American audiences to grasp. Screenwriter Simon Beaufoy recalled studio execs scratching their heads over the term Full Monty itself, as there was no character actually named Monty. Certain U.S. theaters tried to help audiences by handing out printed guides explaining some of the film's Sheffield slang and translating the heavy accents. Turning down big money for a sequel. On the back of such meteoric success, film execs naturally wanted to replicate the formula with a sequel. Simon Beaufoy was reported as being offered massive sums to pen The Full Monty 2, but the Oscar-winning scribe refused, believing it would undermine the dignified message at the original's core. Director Peter Cataneo similarly felt a sequel would only disappoint fans. And Robert Carlyle also unambiguously told Lorraine Kelly, quote, "It would never happen." A child star only auditioned to Skive off school. Young William Snape landed the role of Gaz's son Nathan in the film. However, according to later interviews, he was initially nonplussed about auditioning. The opportunity only attracted him after producers visited his school and guaranteed 6 weeks off from classes for whomever got the part. On set, though, seeing how expertly the adult actors embodied their roles inspired him to fully commit to playing Nathan. Legendary British actor turned down role. There could have been another British sitcom icon appearing in the Full Monty. Nicholas Lyndhurst, best known as Rodney in the classic comedy Only Fools and Horses, was reportedly offered an undisclosed role. Amusingly, though, his agent failed to sell it effectively, mentioning the shoestring budget and embarrassing premise of male stripping. So Lyndhurst passed on what became a career-defining cultural phenomenon. Liquid courage. The anxiety-inducing finale of actually bearing it all on stage for the stripping finale weighed heavily on the actors. To calm nerves before their make-or-break performance, cast members admitted downing generous amounts of whiskey beforehand. The alcohol perhaps boosted their confidence and lent believable awkwardness to attempting an erotic dance routine. Non-actor reactions for authenticity. Choreographer Suzanne Darley Grand cleverly amped up the amusing impact of the signature hot stuff cue dance scene. She grabbed some random guys not involved acting in the film to intersperse in the background cue. Their genuine bewilderment witnessing the stars suddenly dancing creates a priceless realism. Researching professional strippers. Screenwriter Simon Beaufoy committed to nailing the premise by attending a live show by a professional male strip troupe. But the grim and seedy reality of the Chippendales gig only reaffirmed his vision of crafting a heartwarming comedic tone instead. Observing the polished performers helped inspire the intentionally messy underdog vibes of the Full Monty's lovable amateurs. Stretching the budget. The film was made on an ultra-low budget of only $3.5 million. The production faced constant constraints on what they could afford, like only managing to pay to film in an actual supermarket because locations were so tight. Through clever tricks and favors, though, they maximized their meager resources. An example was composer Ann Dudley securing Tom Jones to sing a cover of You Can Leave Your Hat On for cheap through music industry connections. Clever camera angles. The actors braved bearing it all for the pivotal final striptease scene, but the director, Peter Cantaneo, preserved their dignity by utilizing tight close-ups and a scrim to obscure the full-frontal nudity of the stars during filming. Test audiences were even teased over hours with the guys stopping just short of removing their thongs each take. This allowed capturing authentic reactions for the big reveal while not subjecting the cast to overexposure. Earning back its budget in just 2 weeks. Fox Searchlight took a risk backing this offbeat comedy with a limited $3.5 million budget. But the film had exceptional legs after release, playing for months and eventually becoming the highest-grossing British film in history at the time. Within just 2 weeks, The Full Monty had already earned back its entire production budget in British cinemas alone. It went on to make over $250 million worldwide, shocking everyone involved. Changing ideas on masculinity. Beyond just being a feel-good underdog story, experts suggest The Full Monty tapped into an evolution in thinking surrounding concepts of masculinity and gender roles. Released just after a seismic shift in various traditionally male-dominated industries, the film explores men coming together in emotionally supportive ways rarely depicted in mainstream media. This cultural timeliness in showcasing the more sensitive masculinity likely boosted the movie's resonance in the late 90s. Now it's time to hear from you. Which of these facts was most surprising to hear about? Let us know in the comments section below.